Welcome to the Ask Dad podcast by Soul Bliss Empire with Rachel and Jim. This is the podcast where science meets spirituality, and our mission is to expand consciousness. You have arrived. Hello and welcome back to Ask Dad. I'm Rachel and this is Jim, aka Dad. Tonight we are going to be talking about the Gaia Sophia myth. And basically it originated from the Gnostics, and it's been passed down through generations, even when the Gnostics were wiped out. And so we're going to talk about that today. It's a message of hope. It gives you something to hang on to in the dark days, and gives you strength. And so I think it's a timely time to talk about it. So take it away, Jim. Tell the story.
Okay. So, yeah, and I think first off, what I'll start off with is the kind of to frame the discussion here is that we're talking about the Sophia myth. She's also referred to as Gaia Sophia, and that's the idea that our planet is actually a goddess. And so the idea of this is that it helps to channel our emotional body, because when you're meditating and when our emotions are very strong, and it's something that you want to harness and use to your advantage. One of the yogic paths is devotion. They call it bhakti. It's one of the 4 paths of yoga. And so to utilize that emotional power, the idea of having a focus of a goddess is very useful. And so that's the idea. And for me personally, I know that the universe is aware, is intelligent. And so it's not outside, it's outside of, let's say, of my intellectual grasp of things. And I've never, let's say, met Sophia face to face, but in some of my visions or my, the traveling shamanic journeys or travels that I've done, she has appeared, but never like in a spoken form. She's just a presence that's there. Anyway, so there's the idea of having an intelligent form to focus our meditation and our devotional energies onto is very useful. So in that context, I'll share the story of the Sophia myth. And as you're saying, that it's brought out by the Gnostics, and the Gnostics were historically a group of people that were thought to be Christians. Sort of later Christians. I think they were killed around 100 or 200 AD, something like that, where their history ended. They got wiped out. But from the writings of the Nag Hammadi, which is the ancient texts that were found and translated, we got a lot more. This is where we get the full story or the full tradition of the Gnostics, Sophia myth and their beginnings. And a lot of scholars feel like they go all the way back to like the beginning of recorded time, corresponding to the Magi that would have, let's say, come into the Christ story. They were like the wisdom, the seers, the soothsayers, the astrologers, the wise men and magicians that were those 3, represented by the 3 wise men that saw the star and came to worship the baby Jesus. Which means that they go, back to, like the time of Göbekli Tepe, 12,000 years ago. So that, and then of course linked to ancient traditions before, because we now, anybody that looks at the archaeology, we're looking at megalithic structures like Göbekli Tepe that have been reliably dated to 12,000 years ago. And it's like, that's when we were supposed to be like Cro-Magnon man coming out of the Ice Age. Right? Like raising, 20-ton stones and having them carved, and not just one or two, but there's like, apparently there's acres. I think I've heard 65 acres apparently is one of the estimates of Göbekli Tepe, and they've only excavated a small portion of that. So anyway, so this is the ancient tradition that the Gnostics are related to by some scholars' estimations. And so the story and so their myth of the Sophia goddess is that originally she was a galactic being that inhabited the center of our galaxy. Now, I don't know, that just makes me smile. It's like, wow, a galactic being. And because when you think about, now we on this channel, we talk a lot about the ether, right? And bringing back the ether into physics, and the ether energy, and how that's the medium that all of the subtle energies are being, the subtle frequencies were subtle energies that are being used in all the types of alternative healings and and psychic abilities and intuition and all these things, right? The ether is the medium for this, and the ether is a self-organizing energy. So it's the intelligence. It's, by all respects, it's God, it's source, right? It's to that depth of intelligence. So the galactic, so at the galactic center would be a huge ether vortex. So you'd have a cosmic dynamic ether vortex that's at the center of that galaxy. And that's why the galaxy spins, right? That's why it has that spiral shape that you see all through nature, right? Through the shells and in weather patterns like, tornadoes or hurricanes, and all the way up to the Milky Way, right? Which is a spiral galaxy. And so here you have this enormous, etheric vortex. And this is the being that inhabits that massive energetic place. And what they do there, her and her consort. Now, I should know the name. There was a male figure in this, and I didn't get that, but maybe we could maybe post it. Sometimes you see the little corrections we can do in our postings. Anyway, I don't have that, but we can supply that. But Sophia, and her male god that she was working with, they would create life and have them go out, and sort of the picture you get is sort of this drifting of this sort of white silky energy going through the universe and just landing on planets, and then they would just wait and see what happened. And that was their entertainment. Let's say they would just go, oh yeah, we've put what we call human DNA, we've put that information out into the galaxy, and it's landed on this little sphere over here. Let's watch and see what happens. And so as they were watching and seeing the human DNA come about, she saw that their creation was so dynamic and so captivating for them that it just drew her attention. It's like, like binge watching, a favorite series on television. She couldn't take her eyes off of the human DNA. And just by having her attention drawn to the human DNA, she did something unprecedented happened. Something that had never happened before in the history of the universe was that a galactic being was transformed or transmuted into a planetary being. And so Sophia, because of her love and her interests in human DNA, was so captivated that she left her place at the galactic center and became planet Earth, became the spiritual energy of our planet. And to me, it's such, on its surface, it's such a beautiful story, such a beautiful love story. And then you can't help but think of that character and love her back, this goddess that that came to us, and she loved us so much, she just had to be with us. And so it's kind of hard not to have that devotional aspect to her, just at that purest kind of childlike level. And it's one of those things that that if it's not true, you would just hope it was true. It's so beautiful. And it also explains a lot too, because you think of our little blue planet here, that just teems with life. Like we've got an insane amount of life exploding everywhere, out of this planet. So I don't know, it kind of makes sense that we have a goddess, that the energy of the goddess inhabits she is Gaia, the planet Earth. And so we kind of take that for granted. So, but that to me forms a great basis for a devotional aspect to our lives. So what's your comments on Gaia Sophia, Rachel?
Well, it's like whether you believe it or not, I mean, it seems far-fetched and woo-woo and whatever other words you want to come up with.
Super woo, right? Like it's the woo-wooist.
Yeah, we clearly have a planet. It clearly has an energy. So
yeah,
why not just believe it?
Yeah.
Why not? Like you said, it's a beautiful story. And if it helps you connect more to planet Earth, then that's amazing. I think that's what we need a lot more of in this world right now is more love and connection. And what better way to do that than with the Earth? Like maybe you don't find the people that you can connect with like that, connect with the Earth, and she'll connect back. It's a reciprocal exchange. And so, but yeah, like I said, whether you believe it or not, the Earth is here, and I think it's a cool thing to be able to connect with her.
Yeah, and then it also connects to the legends and myths of fairies and gnomes, like those energies that I've actually seen recently. Is people filming like those bright little. It looks like a little like a Tinkerbell, zooming around the forest, and people are filming it, going, "What's this? Like, what am I filming here? Like, this is amazing." And it goes along with there's other traditions. There's Celtic traditions, of course, that are very strong with fairies, and the fairies are some of the emanations, or some of the, let's say, they're all connected to the goddess. They're some of the emanations of the goddess. It's the form that we see that she allows to for people to see. And I've had people going to some conferences where like the bioenergy one that I went to, and people running back going, "I saw a fairy in the forest." It's like awesome. Like what a cool experience. It's just a magical thing that you never forget. And I've heard it said that this world it's either all magic or there's no magic.
So why not believe in the magic?
So why not go with the magic? Yeah.
We know what it's like on the other end. We know what it's like. So why not believe in the magic?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it helps you, and just at a practical, pragmatic level, for meditation, it helps to have that the emotional energy that we have is the magnetic aspect of our energy, right? And our thinking is like the electrical aspect. So like in the electromagnetic realm, you have thought and you have emotion, and we need to have both to be a creative being, to be able to manifest. All of the manifesting books and techniques that I've read about always incorporate thought and emotion.
Well, it makes sense. And speaking of electricity and thoughts, one way to, like, if you are feeling scattered or just out of sorts and stuff, is go outside and stand barefoot on the earth, because you'll receive electrons. This is what you were telling me yesterday, right?
Right. Yeah.
You'll
earthing. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll receive electrons into your body. So when you're depleted, it'll actually restore you. The energy of the earth literally restores your electricity. We are electrical beings, and so is the earth, and that's how it works.
Yeah, I mean, we're connected, right? We are physically connected to the frequency of the planet, right? There's the other thing called the Schumann Residence, right? Our planet has, I think it was 7.8 frequent hertz. That's the Schumann Residence. And they found that when astronauts went up, like the space station, they needed to replicate that resonance to have as a background frequency. Otherwise, our body just starts to deteriorate. We're completely dependent on the energy, the actual physical and subtle energies of this planet we cannot hold our physical form without those energies around us, right? We know there's radio waves and television waves and cell phone waves, right? Lots of subtle energies zooming around, right? I mean, right in this room, right? We've got Wi-Fi and we're getting our Zoom call carried through electromagnetic, frequencies and waves. It's the same thing, right? It's just the natural aspect of it, and that is all around us. And so it's it's just a really nice way to connect with it, and and just accept it. It's just that's kind of my view on it.
Yeah, but we have so many stories in our culture, myths, legends, whatever you want to call them, and we kind of pick and choose which ones we want to believe, right? So it's like, well, if we can do that, like why can't we just choose to believe this one if you want to?
Sure, it's
right?
off.
Like,
It's
yeah.
like nobody's forcing you.
Yeah.
But it's a great story, and I would definitely recommend checking out some. Of course, reading the Nag Hammadi is might be a little tedious. So it's not super long, but there's a lot of people who have given good summaries of it, and there's some people that really get into it into a lot of detail, and but it's definitely a thing when you're talking about subtle energies. You gotta can't forget Sophia.
No, that's for sure. Well, let's do a quick just grounding meditation,
Okay.
just to play around with the energies and meet Sophia in her earth form. Okay, so close your eyes, get comfortable, sit with your spine straight, or you can lay down and take a deep breath into your heart and hold it just for a few seconds, and then let it go, breathing out through your mouth. And breathe in again and hold in your heart. And breathe out through your mouth. And one last time, breathe into your heart and hold. And breathe out through your mouth. And this time I'm going to get you to breathe in and hold it. And then when you let go, breathe all the way down to Mother Earth. So breathe in through your nose. Hold for a second. And then as you release your breath, go down, down, down through all the layers of the earth, right into the core of the earth, and sync up with Mother Earth. Feel your heart beating in time with hers. And picture her there in Middle Earth. And see the fairies and the devas and the other earth creatures, the elementals. See them all gathering for you. Look around and maybe you see a crystal. This is your crystal. This is where you have stored your centuries and lifetimes of knowledge. You can connect to that crystal. Feel the support here from Mother Earth. It's divine feminine energy. And feel the support of all of Central Earth. So just take a few more breaths here. Now come back to your body, and as you breathe in all of that support. Breathe it up to your feet, up, up, up into your heart. Breathe it all in. When you're ready, you can wiggle your hands and your feet and open your eyes. And that's just a good way to short little session. It's a good way to just bring your body back into heart brain coherence. It relaxes you, de-stresses you, and connects you to earth. If you can't physically get outside, it's a good secondary way to connect to earth.
Good.
Well, if there's nothing else you'd like to add, then I guess we'll call it a night tonight. Is there anything? Yeah. Okay.
Well, yeah, that's good. I think that was everything. Just a quick story.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks everybody for watching. As always, you can find us on Instagram at Soul Bliss Empire, on our website our website is soulblissempire.com. I'll of course link those below if you ever do want to connect with us, and we'll see you next time. Good night.
Okay.